You guys, every time we start these, I have something really clever or pithy to say, but this time, all I got is wow, wow. Let's get into this. All right, we are back. Welcome to Paul's Collectibles and the Obi-Wan Kenobi breakdown show. I got Bailey, I got Christian, and we have a lot to talk about today, talking about an emotional roller coaster and an information dump. But before we get started, as always, Bailey, how are you doing, man? It's good to see you.
I am doing well, Paul. Again, it's still hot. No rain in Tatooine yet, but I'm excited to be here as always. I look forward to Thursdays just for this alone.
Absolutely. This has been a lot of fun. Christian, it is always good to see your smiling face over there in your moderate, wonderful weather. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great, thank you. I was about to say the same. It's pretty warm here at the moment. We're in mid-20s in the UK at the moment, which is pretty steamy for us. So that's sort of late 70s for you guys. And they're threatening that it's going to be hotter tomorrow, so people are panicking. People are going to be fainting in the streets and all sorts. You think I'm joking? That's how the news goes here. Stay indoors.
That's how we feel about gas prices in the U.S. right now.
Yeah,
fainting in the streets.
Yeah, so that's the flip side, because those guys in the UK and the European Union have been dealing with high gas prices for like the last 15 years, and now they're looking at us like, welcome to our world. You know what I mean?
The last 15 years. It's been forever.
Yeah, it's been forever. Yeah, exactly. Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm happy to see you both. I'm happy to be back. I cannot believe we're already on episode 5. We got this one, then we got one more, but we'll talk about episode 6 towards the end here. Let's go over to chat, you guys, and see who's joining us. Bailey, what do you think?
Let's go for it.
Let's do this. All right. We got G units in the house. Hey, Paul, Bailey, and Christian, let's get into this. That's my dog. He knows. Hey, Hoppy. It's good to see you, man. Chat legend Shabby's in the house. Good to see you, Shabby. Josh, howdy, Bailey, Christian, Paul in chat. Yeah, always good to see Josh. We love him. Hey, Gianni, evening, Bailey, Paul, Christian in chat. Guess who? Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Gianni. If it's not, I'll apologize to Greg. Hey, there's your boy, Christian. Good evening, Paul the tall Bailey.
I love that.
Christian, and what are you, sir?
Sorry.
I said, and what are you? If I'm the tall and Bailey's the wise, you are apparently the
gray.
The gray. You got to love Jonathan. Oh, my God. Hey, Evan Gregoire, it's good to see you back, man. Thanks for coming back. It's good to see you. Unit Fam always hooks us up. Appreciate that. Oh, there it goes again. Connor. Oh, you changed your icon. Ooh, looks very action man, right, Christian?
Very, very action force.
Whichever one. I didn't know about any of those until I started seeing you guys. Between that and Mask, I'm learning about my own culture through y'all's videos. Rolando, always good to see you, sir. Sean Wilderum, he's been here before. Hello, people. Getting in some hot stuff today. Yeah, literally and figuratively for sure. And then Michael Hendrickson, one of my channel members. Hey, Bailey, did you see my message in the episode you did with the Jedis?
Are you talking about the books, Michael?
Yeah, he's talking about where you talked about the one Jedi, I think. We'll go back and we'll find him and see what you say.
I'll get back to you, Michael.
All right. Thanks, Michael. And then, of course, #Greygate. I love it. Good job, Josh. Oh, my goodness, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat. If you're catching us on the replay, I appreciate it as well. But with that, we're going to jump right in because I know Bailey is just chomping at the bit. Christian, you look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to hit this too. So what do you guys say we head at it, Christian?
Let's get to it.
All right, Michael. Yeah, and a couple if you want them. Okay, cool. So I thought something was up, Christian. We're going to start with you. When the very first thing we get after the regular lead-in is this. What's going through your head when you see this message on a Disney Plus show?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, what's going to happen here? Because we've already seen a child getting choked to death or his neck snapped.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was also pretty pleased to see it, which I know sounds a bit weird, but it means that they're going to be brave enough to do something that's a little out of the norm for Disney.
Yeah. Bailey, what was your takeaway from seeing this? Because I was like, what?
I found it kind of amusing and be like, oh, now we're going to put this up. Because, we've seen a little girl get tortured. We've seen people's, Vader snapping necks. Like, we've seen all sorts of stuff. So I'm like, oh, now we're going to put this up. And it also does kind of like, okay, well, if they didn't put it before, what am I about to see now? So, yeah, it's kind of both amusing and like, oh, okay. Let's do this. What a way to start.
Yeah. And you guys know, normally I don't go over the beginning images and things like that, but that was an aberration. I just had to throw up and be like, well, I was like, all right, well, let me get some popcorn. It's finished. Wow. Really quick, there's Sai. I always get to see you, Sai. I appreciate it. And Josh, I'm going to say it now. I was disappointed. Okay, interesting. Well, this was one of my favorite episodes so far. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more into that. This is for a Christian. Paul, you have to be one of the only people to pronounce my last name correctly first try. It's because I didn't try to do it in an accent, right, Christian? And then let's come on down here. Oh, goodness, here we go again. Oh, God, sorry, you guys. There's my buddy Casey. It's because people are now triggered by a hang now. Yeah, fair enough. That's probably why. Yeah, Jonathan, I saw that episode, and it's jumping all over the place. You guys that run StreamYard know what I'm going through right now. It's all over. Sorry. What a way to start so far. So I saw that message and thought, hell yeah, more Order 66. Bailey, that's not the sentiment I'm imagining you had about it, Order 66.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the flip side. Matt, good to see you, Matt, by the way. I'm just going to throw this out there. If you didn't like this episode, Star Wars might not be for you. Well, I don't know if it's that bad, but I thought this was some pretty classic Star Wars for sure. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, Josh and Matt will be going back and forth in the comments. I think Connor's here. Somebody's going to have to get kicked. Evan, yeah, exactly. I knew the Youngling Slayer 9000 was going to be active in this episode, no doubt. Oh, Collecting with Cool super sticker. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. You are my first super sticker ever, sir. So congratulations. I appreciate that. Oh, no, episode 1 did not have a warning. Only this one. So. All right. And Josh says he found it predictable. Fair enough. I didn't. I was surprised when they dumped all this on us that quick. Bailey, right back to you, ma'am. I would just, I would be remiss, obviously, if I didn't start this slide with you. Tell me what's going through your head when you see this.
First of all, they open up with that Coruscant skyline, and I was like, oh my God, is this Coruscant? Like, just, oh my gosh. And then they they pull it back and you just see that, Anakin ponytail. I'm just like, oh my gosh. I was just so excited to see, and he turns around and it's like, it's Hayden Christensen as Anakin again. So for me, I felt like just like a little girl again, seeing this. I was like, oh my gosh. And I know people have nitpicked this to hell with the CGI, but I don't care. I was just so happy to see them as Anakin and Obi-Wan again. And let me tell you something, and we're going to talk about this flashback many times, but this is how you do flashbacks, y'all. This was very relevant to what we're about to see. So I just think it was so beautiful, and y'all can nitpick all you want, but I was just so happy to just see Hayden Christensen as Anakin again. So y'all better be nice to him.
So Christian, when this came out, I felt like a 30-year-old again. I was young and and also, yeah, Bailey, no one cares. I'm just kidding. Oh, I'm getting old fast. Christian, in addition to that, did you notice that this is the same room where we saw the younglings at the beginning of that one episode for Order 66? And what did you think of this, Christian?
I totally missed that. I thought this was an entirely different location. It appears that there is like a ceiling to this room, whereas I thought that opening sequence in the first episode was sort of open top. But yeah, that's cool. Now, to be honest with you, they tricked me again in exactly the same way that they did the first episode, because I was still sat here thinking about the end of the last episode, the fact that Leia and Kenobi are on that ship and they're getting to wherever the destination is. And when they showed this skyline, I immediately thought, safety, Alderaan, she's made it home. Where are we going with this story? And then as it came back, I was thinking, where do I know this horizon from? And then, of course, we see this. Here we are, Coruscant. And then as soon as we saw these guys, it was just awesome. And pretty much exactly the same as you just articulated, Bailey. I was watching them, and I was so pleased to see them in this role. Now, I enjoyed The Mandalorian. I enjoyed the CG Luke. It didn't faze me. It didn't bother me. Hi, Andy. It didn't upset me, but it was very, very cool to see the actual actors playing their actual roles. And Hayden looked a little old, but it didn't faze me in the slightest. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't take me out. I was sucked into it and I was enjoying it. And of course, as this goes on, we realize that this is very much almost a narration, if you will. It's a lesson for the episode as it unveils, and it's just beautifully done, in my opinion.
Yeah. And to put it succinctly, Joe Blake Skywalker, first of all, it's good to see you. Hell yes, is what I thought at this scene for sure. Man, the chat is off the chain today, you guys. I'm going to have a hard time keeping up. So if I miss your comment, I'm not deliberately ignoring you. I apologize. Plus, it's jumping all over the place lately as well. Brian's action figure review slipped in on us, just so you know. Good to see you, brother. Well, Disney Plus got a first for a streaming service. Obi-Wan Kenobi will be shown in theaters. Yeah, we'll be talking about that later for sure. That's going to be fun. I was surprised Bailey didn't know that.
I'm so upset with myself about that. Yeah.
Well, the two of you probably have real lives and responsibilities, so that's probably why I knew about it. Evan, let me say real quick, this choreography was absolutely incredible. Haven't seen something like this since Revenge of the Sith. Yes, I thought that the lightsaber battle was very believable. Yeah, Bailey?
Oh, yeah. There was definitely echoing Mustafar and what we see in Return of the Jedi. It was beautifully done. Again, y'all can nitpick. This was beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
She's literally downstairs right now, about to head out to work. But shout out to the flashbacks. She always knows just what to say. Say hi to my wife and make my life easy, guys. I appreciate it. All right, we'll move on. Christian, I'd like to start with you because we know from whose perspective we're getting these flashbacks, and that's not the button I wanted to push. That is. Let's not get rid of Bailey. That would be rude. Christian, what was going through your head when you saw this and you realized finally what's going on?
Yeah, this was cool because, I mean, probably much like most people watching this, I thought this was Kenobi thinking back to what was going on, and actually we're seeing Vader. And that was a nice sort of juxtaposition because we have the beauty of that scene. It's so light, it's so airy. And then suddenly we're just straight back to just sheer darkness. I mean, I love shots like this because those highlights, I mean, it's unmistakable, isn't it? And then as soon as we'd got beyond this shot, there was a shot from behind where we see an officer over the shoulder at Vader looking out the window, which is so A New Hope. That literally could have been taken out of the film. It looked brilliant. But yeah, just the fact that we can see that Vader is processing all of this on such an emotional level himself, it really helps, in my opinion, it really helps build his character, because as a kid, I saw this guy as a bad guy. He doesn't have feelings. He's just a bad guy. And all of this, the prequels, of course, and all of this season, it's been about building him up for a new generation, because I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I think I've already mentioned younger generations don't really like the original trilogy, or at least a lot of younger generation don't like it because they're old films. Yeah. But things like this really help build upon that, so that when they watch A New Hope, they're going to really appreciate it. And yeah, it makes me happy.
Yes. Bailey, follow that. That's a good tangent there, Christian. I loved it.
Yeah, no, I really like that. Out of everyone, this is Vader reflecting on this and not Obi-Wan. So it really just goes to show that Anakin is still very much inside, and he has not let go a lot of things, and this is definitely one of them. I agree with Christian. I think they're doing Vader justice in this show. I can tell from being a teacher and being around kids quite a bit. No, like the originals don't capture their attention right away. They're slower films. They look different than what they're used to. The prequels will grab their attention more because of the effects and the sounds and whatnot. But they're doing such a good job showing that no, Vader means business, and like it really does help, get them interested in that. So again, Christian, sometimes you say things so much better than I can, and that's why it's nice having you here. So yeah, I'm with them there.
Well, I think you've always done just fine in my book, Bailey. I'm just the idiot down here going, woo, Stormtroopers, so thank God for you two. Yeah. And I think for a lot of these shots, it was definitely Hayden for sure. Bailey, let's stick with you. Turns out she's here to get knighted. Did this catch you by surprise, or did you kind of see it coming?
No, it actually did, because I definitely remember, like, frowning at this, be like, okay, so is the Grand Inquisitor truly dead, and if so, what does that mean for Rebels? But, at the same time, like, nah, this episode's kind of long, we'll see how this plays out. So I did find that interesting, but I also had it in my mind too, like, this isn't what she really wants. So I was like, this is going to be an extremely interesting dynamic. And I will talk about it more when we're towards the end, but yeah. I was definitely on she just wants to get close to Vader, and I'm like, okay, we're one step closer to something big with this promotion. So yeah, it was both kind of a head scratcher, but at the same time, engagement. Like, all right, let's see where this is going.
Yeah, as an aside, for the guys that pay attention to this, speaking of promotions, this is not Imperial Captain's rank. So this guy must be a lower rank with just the title of captain, I guess. But anyway, Christian, what did you think of this?
Yeah, I really liked this, because the way that she comes in, she's full of confidence, the way that she always is when she enters these rooms now. And he says Neil, and I can't remember the actor's name, but her performance is brilliant. If you watch it, she does this fight or flight thing with just her eyes. So it's like she sort of flicks her eyes to the side, and to me that's registering as, do I do this, or do I run, or do I fight, or what do I do in this situation? Yeah. And of course she reluctantly kneels down, and then when they put that badge on her, you watch her. If you watch, I mean, I've never been in this position, but if you watch war films, when they pin medals and things on jackets, there is a look of pride in people's face. They look forward, they hold themselves, and all the rest of it. As they put that thing on her chest, she watches the whole time with her eyes down, and that's out of disgust. And you can see there's this whole, I don't want to be here, I don't want this, I don't care for this, this repulses me. And yeah, as the episode goes, it gets more and more uncovered.
Yeah. Really quick, Josh. Yeah, thank you. We're getting weird bots this time, but they're sneakier. I had to read that for a second. So yeah, between me and you and Connor, we'll kill him. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it. Really fast. Also, there's Peter McKinnon, one of my channel members from New Zealand. Christian Bailey, good to see you. Everyone in the chat. It's Moses Ingram. Christian, does that help?
Moses Ingram. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and everybody is saying it. This was, man, we've been saying her character, because I don't think she was a poor actress. Her character's been much better and better. In this episode,
I really don't understand where you guys are going with the acting. Sorry, just like
what?
I don't know. Just the critiques on her acting. I just have never understood it through this whole thing. So I find it interesting.
Well, for me, with the first two episodes, she seemed too over the top and too angry, and it was like just a little. I mean, I don't want her to be standing around like the fifth brother Bailey, going, we're not doing anything. But like those first two episodes, I was like, oh, could she calm down just a little bit? Is all I was looking for. And turns out it's the writing. Go, Christian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think if you go back to our first breakdown, or our second breakdown, because the first one was a primer, and you watch it, we were all talking. Well, I say we were all, Bailey, you were right from the start, but the rest of us, we were sort of saying that we're not too sure about this actor, not sure if it's the writing, not sure if it's the performance. What's going on here, and I felt like there was like almost a dual storyline going on, or something, and it was coming across strangely, and of course we now know exactly why that was going on. But I think that's the difficulty of critiquing episode by episode. If we'd have watched the whole thing and gone back on a full breakdown, how different each point would have been.
Yeah, I think this might be one of those ones where you and I, Christian, could go back and watch the first two episodes. And since I'm a lot simpler, I don't want to throw you in there, since I'm a lot simpler than Bailey is, with that knowledge, I'd be like, oh, now I know why she's acting like this.
I don't know. I've just always found it interesting how, and I know like nobody in the chat here is doing it, but how we as non-actors can critique something. Casey, has these people know where their character is going, and they're playing based on what they know. And I just think it's a little harsh as us as the audience to be like just And it's like, well, you go do it then. You put the costume on and do it better. I dare you. Same with the CGI. You do it then. You're so brilliant at it. So that's like, but now I, give it what Christian is saying, like he put it eloquently. Okay, I get that. I just always found that interesting that people are so quick to be like, and it's like, well, you're not an actor. What do you know?
Well, and you and I, Bailey, we agree like 99.9% of the time. But to Matt's point, and we've talked about this before. Where did it go? I also kind of agree that, it's kind of our job to critique. I don't know anything about Air Force pilots, but if the plane looks like it's being flown incorrectly, I might say something. But at the end of the day, it was my own simplistic nature that prevented me from seeing the depth of that character. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not in trouble when you come over for dinner next week.
No.
Okay. All right. All right. I just want to make sure. Yeah. And as the audience, it's our responsibility to critique, but yeah.
I just always find it interesting that it's always the woman that gets critiqued, but just throwing that out there.
I didn't even think critiquing the fifth brother showed up because we were so, he's like, what the hell ever? Why are we even bothering?
Nobody ever critiqued the fifth brother's acting ever, but and we're done. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's a good point. And I should have made a point to bring it up more because you were handling it brilliantly. And I think Christian and I have agreed with you the entire time. The fifth brother, it's been like, whatever.
I just find it interesting. But anyway, let's do this.
Okay, fair enough. Rolando, be careful. All right, we're not that important. So Christian, we head back and to Nabeem, and guess who's here? Tell me what's going on. What you thought?
I thought this was a nice callback. So obviously we know that he knows this place because ultimately he sent Kenobi and Leia to this planet. So we know that he is in some way aware of the Resistance. I think it makes sense for him to rock up, given that he obviously had that weird face-off with Reva, which I still think would have been more dramatic if she just dispatched him. But I'm kind of glad they didn't because he is really, he's a light relief, especially in this episode. And in fact, he was in that first episode, to be fair, or second. So yeah, I was pleased to see him back, and he delivered that line. There's a lot of opportunity here, and I thought that was brilliant because we all know what that means. He's effectively going to go continue performing, and I like that comedic relief that he brought to it, and I also like the fact that Kenobi allows it. He's sort of harmless. And to a certain extent, Kenobi, well, not even to a certain extent, Kenobi is in this man's debt. So, I liked it.
You know what, Bailey? Christian brings up a good point. For an episode that had just some horrible lows and a lot of emotion, they still managed to slip in a little bit of. Was it appropriate? Did you like it?
Oh, I like it. Yeah, to me, like all the humor in this show has come off organic to me, and you do need that. I mean, we all know like this is a very heavy episode, so we need stuff like this to break it up, and especially what comes shortly after the scene. No, I thought it was completely appropriate, and it makes me like the character more that he's like, humbled down and been like, I'm gonna, I enjoy him now. Yeah,
he's been the comic relief in the whole season, and I think they're doing it fairly well for the most part. So I was glad to see him. Yeah, Rick's good to see you. The Reva illusion has begun. Great episode, best yet for sure. That's my brother said. She's gonna Reva-eel her motives. Bailey, let's stick with you. Ewan McGregor was always a good actor in my mind. I've seen him in a lot of stuff. I've been a fan. He is knocking it off the chain when he looks around and he's nervous, and then finally goes, "You know what? I got to be who I am," and says, "I'm going to, all right, we'll help." What are you getting out of this, man?
Oh, this is just like Obi-Wan is back to, he just reminds me of who he was, before, Revenge of the Sith. And I think Ewan's doing a brilliant job, like portraying his own anxieties. And that's what I really like about Obi-Wan is very much like your average Joe, like, he feels anxiety and fear, and maybe he needs a moment to think things through, but he's so brave and just so, I just really enjoy this. Like, this is someone who is like, all right, I gotta help these people. Like, I need to get my head in the game. Vader's coming. yeah, I enjoy him a lot in this scene. He is back to where he was before.
Agree. Christian, I'm going to go to you, but Bailey, I'd like for you to answer this question for me. Evan says, I hope we get a season 2. I don't want the next episode to be the last time we see Hayden and Ewan in Star Wars. I'm torn on that because this is so good. It's going to leave a good taste in my mouth, I think, and we can just move on into the horizon. What say you, my man?
This might be shocking considering how high I've been rating this show, but I kind of hope they don't, because this show was definitely written to be a limited series. And I do believe that sometimes, and you see this a lot in big franchises, that they have a one-off good movie. And I think like Jurassic Park is like a brilliant example of that. You have that one amazing movie, and then they decide, well, let's make a bunch of sequels. And it doesn't, it's kind of like, I just don't want them to ruin a good thing. And I think, think about it, guys. This is Obi-Wan in isolation. I mean, he really can't be doing an awful lot in this time. And when you start doing more, you start messing with like the Rogue One, like you start messing with other things happening in this time. And again, Obi-Wan should be on Tatooine looking at Luke. So I don't know. I feel like that could get messy very quick if they decide to do that.
Christian, you had some experience with films and script writing, just a little bit. I know you're very humble about it, but what about the scene did you think, and about Evan's question down below? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo Bailey to a certain extent, although I'm a huge fan of Jurassic Park: The Lost World, I've got to admit. But yeah, her point's bang on. We're in a very risky situation here, whereby we've got beautiful cinema. I know it's not in the cinema, or at least, it sounds like some of it might be, but beautiful storytelling. And the risk is these shows make so much money that, of course, the financiers behind them want them to go on and on and on. And of course, money makes the world go round, but it's very difficult because, of course, none of us want this to be the last time we see Ewan and Hayden on screen together as Kenobi and Vader. But all good things must come to an end. They have to. Otherwise, we end up with poor quality programs or poor quality films. And no one wants to see that happen. We've seen it happen in Star Wars. I do fear that we are going to see a lot more of Star Wars over the coming years. Some of it will be amazing. Some of it will not so much. We've already witnessed that too. So, yeah, I guess to answer it, I hope it ends with the next episode.
I'm not going to lie, because, I'm 52 this month, so I don't got to worry about 30, 40 more years of Star Wars content. Let's just be honest. That sounds a little morbid. Whereas Bailey, I'm actually happy to hear you say that, because you've got 60, 70 years left, where they could continue to make this kind of stuff. So, but it looks like it's about 50-50 in the comments. And the one that actually kind of surprised me was KC. I thought KC would be, team, let's end it right here. But he's like, you know what? They can do it. And some people are saying it just depends on how they end it. So I'll be interested to see if we get that season 2 and what it's about.
I'm sorry to interject. I'd be much more interested in starting to open up other storylines. I mean, look how successful The Mandalorian is.
Yeah.
This is a totally new character that can go anywhere. We can move away from the Skywalker storyline, and don't be afraid to do so.
Yeah.
Bailey, go.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could still do shows just like this in this time period, but maybe focus on a different character. Again, y'all, if Obi-Wan is all over the galaxy doing stuff, that makes him high profile, and this is a man that's supposed to be in isolation. So yeah, it gets very messy. And my issue with all the new Star Wars content before this is, we'd call it like contentless content, where it's like just seems manufactured, like they're just trying to pump out all these shows. And I think like Marvel is kind of experiencing that a little bit. They're just trying to pump up all this stuff, and it's like 50-50, like, is this really gonna be worth my time or not? Is this as good as this XYZ? And just, I don't know, just let all good things have to come to an end. Don't beat a dead horse, because so I love these characters. You all know they're tattooed on my arm. I love these characters a lot, but I'm even saying, like, if you stretch it out, you're gonna get a little nuts. Don't ruin a good thing.
Agree. Bailey, since the Bad Batch, you've been talking about there's more than Tatooine Coruscant in this universe, and there's trillions of people out there. Let's move off a little bit. So, yeah, Casey put it best. If I can catch up. Oh my God. And thankfully they're starting to do a little bit of that. Ahsoka's a little part of the family, but now we're getting some more Andor stuff to look forward to. So I would love to see them continue to go in that direction. So, Bailey, let's stick with you for a moment here. So the droid decides to shut the door so they can't get out. And I forgot what the next picture was here. Oh, yeah. So we're in the base. The droid decides to shut the door, and because he's, being a bad guy. And we get this wall. Do you have any conjecture on what any of this stuff means or what's going on here, or was it just cool to see?
It's just so cool to see, and it just puts a smile on my face to, again, just see, like, there are, we were just saying we could do a show on all these other Jedi that are running around, and on their own. It's just so nice to see, like the Jedi Order in many ways kind of reminds me of, like in the real life we had like the Holocaust. So we've had historical things where like a race of people have almost been eliminated, and it's so nice to see this, to see like, they're still out there, they're surviving. They're putting their symbol there, like there's still a lot of pride, there's still hope out there. So I just find seeing this just so uplifting, like, yep, hope survives. And I'm not fluent in Arabic in any means, but I'm pretty sure one of the lines up there is like, the light is still there, dark. I find this stuff very uplifting.
To Matt's point, this was translated within an hour of the episode going live. I already saw it like last night, I think. It's a bunch of Jedi's names. Most of them are from the Legends era. So now at least their names are canon. And that saying in the middle is something to the effect of the light is not out. There is no permanent death or something. Christian, how did this make you feel when you saw it, man?
Yeah, it works so well. First off, obviously, the previous slide that you showed where you've got the droid with the red light, it's such a nice little touch, because of course the first few episodes, that's a really heartwarming entity. We all see that droid, we see the relationship that droid has with Leia, and it really fills us with joy. We smile. It got broken, and Kenobi fixed it, and of course now it's evil. It's literally threatening their lives, and I love that sort of that flip on its head. And then when we went and we showed that wall, I had no idea what any of it meant. But I love all this, because now I'm potentially going to make myself sound really stupid here, but one or two of the things that I've been discussing with people quite a lot over the last week is the interrogation of Leia. A lot of people had a lot of issue with Leia being interrogated by Reva, and Reva bringing up the pathway. What do you know about it? Where is it? Da, 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 da. But we're finding these places all over the universe. And all I kept thinking was, this little girl doesn't know anything. And of course, you heard my thoughts last week that I didn't believe that Reva thought that she had any idea whatsoever. She was just treading water until Kenobi rocked up. This seems like one of the pathways. So we've now seen two locations that are a part of this pathway. And what I like about that is it is opening up this universe. We're starting to sort of get glimpses at these places. And the fact that we're seeing all those names on the wall, we're seeing the history as well, that the amount of people that have passed through here. We saw it obviously in that episode the week before last, behind the mechanics room, or whatever it was called, all those names, and obviously we have the Jedi symbol engraved on the wall. I just love the fact that it really it gives us this idea that there's this time that has gone past, and so many people have been through here. It really helps build on the scenes.
Agree. I get a feeling of loneliness watching this, especially when I, see flashbacks of what we used to have. I'm watching this show, and they're actually intimating it to me, which I think is really good. And this is why I love having Casey in the chat. Casey's in the industry, as you guys are well aware. I've told you that he and I are also friends with Artisher, who's been in this. So Casey's in the know. And he's like, there's Kilroy was here in there somewhere as well. So that's what it was. Now everybody who knows how to translate Arabic is going to have to go look that up and see where that is. That's funny. Thanks, Casey. I appreciate it. Let me go down the comments real fast here. There's Jeff. There's the new name. I've heard the Jedi stories. The Templar story nights of the Templars. They're also turned on, and an attempt to remove them was also enacted. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, and then we have that acolyte thing coming too. Is meant to be about Sith Lords of the past too. So to sum it up, people that want more stuff are getting it now, and people that want outside of the Skywalker family, I think they're doing a pretty good job of kind of giving it to both of us. So hopefully they don't run this into oblivion. And by the time we're done with the Kenobi series, I'm like, well, they killed all the fun we had. So, Bailey, I know this is tough. I know this is tough for you because the Jedi are your jam. Okay. I don't expect you to try and tell me who any of these people are, but why are there a bunch of Jedi lightsabers sitting here, and those are the box of robes next to it as well? What's going on here? Do you know?
I think no. I mean, it could be one or two things. Either these people have lost their lives, and this is what's left, or when they use the path to get to freedom, they kind of left all that behind. So long as I don't have a lightsaber and clothes that obviously make me look like a Jedi, I'm gonna survive. So maybe that was their dumping ground. Like, I can't carry this with me anymore. I need to hide. Or it could be, maybe there were other disturbances in the past and these people died, and this is, these people's way of, honoring that. So I did find this to be a very nice touch. I don't think any of these hilts are recognizable. I'm not sure, but I thought this was really cool. It's always cool to see lightsabers. I think they're fantastic, regardless of who they belong to. Sure.
Christian, conjecture or thoughts on this scene, my friend?
Yeah, so a couple of things, exactly what Bailey said, but the fact that this is the weapon of the Jedi. Now, whether or not this was all that remains of the Jedi dying, fighting, or if this had to be left behind in order for this person to get off world safely, this is the symbol that wherever that Jedi is now, they're no longer able to defend people, which is what the Jedi are all about. Now, the thing that I found powerful about this was the fact that obviously Kenobi just turned around to O'Shea Jackson's character and said, we need to get off world, I need to get Leia safe. And O'Shea Jackson turned around and said, all these people need to be safe. And it was a real wake-up call because Kenobi is in this moral dilemma where he knows how important Leia is. But when he looks around at all those people, there's a lump in your throat and you think to yourself, all these people have in some way sacrificed for all these Jedi. And it's now time for them to help them. And these people, there's Inquisitors traveling around the universe executing innocent people for helping Jedi. So it is about time this Jedi helps these people. And when he looks at those sabers, that's what I see in his head. Irrespective of what's happened to the Jedi themselves, it is a trigger that Kenobi needs to do something.
Agree. And there's we'll get into it in a couple more slides here, but it comes to a sharp point very quickly right after this as well. And Sean, I already asked these two guys. I looked at a bunch of stuff on the internet. For the most part, nobody, like this, especially the sites that I go to where these guys can get everything, nobody can really tell who they belong to. There's one that looks like it might have been Mace Windu's, but everybody was like, why his would be there wouldn't make any sense. So nobody knows. So we shall see. Bailey,
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is good. That was probably intentional.
Yeah, because I like the way you put it, Bailey. It's a symbolism thing. It's just to meant how lost the Jedi Order has come, and how it was a symbol, a metaphor. Am I crazy, Bailey, or is that right?
No.
Okay. Where am I at here? Yeah, well, they could do a whole path about the series. Yeah, I suppose they could do that without, There's Luke. Good to see you. Excuse my tardiness, y'all, but I'm here, and now y'all can relax. Think, oh, Christian, thank God, Luke's here now. Man, Bailey, you can feel the air come off our shoulders now. That the series is in good hands now. Good to see you, Luke. All right, let's come on down here. Man, the chat is just crazy today. They're all mess ups from Galaxy's Edge. They just yeah, they still haven't said if Mace is dead or in hiding. I'm going with the Mace is dead camp. You guys want to weigh in on that?
I'm not, because that would probably be a 3-hour-long conversation nobody asked for. We're here to talk about the show, y'all. Don't get us too far off, please.
All right. Oh, we'll do a freeform stream one day, Bailey, where we just,
Sure.
talk 6 hours, so.
Yeah, so long as there are potty breaks and food breaks, y'all. But like,
Right. Yeah. Oh my God, no doubt. Whoops. There we go. Christian, it's good to see. Not Christian. Steve-O, it's good to see you. Bailey, right back over to you, ma'am. So as we go through these lightsaber duels, we get more and more little nuggets that, as you said, this is how you do flashbacks. They directly relate to what we're seeing in the present.
Yes.
What's going on here, and what do you think?
So here we're seeing, and I love how you said that, Paul, is this is exactly what I wanted with flashbacks. Make it relevant to what's going on in the present day. And what's going on here is Anakin is just very aggressive and maybe taking this, practice spar a little too seriously. Like almost like my God, like if I was in Obi-Wan's shoes, I'd be like, are you trying to kill me? Because he's just so aggressive, and he's just like, admit that you're beaten. Like, we're seeing like similarities to Luke, hacking on the saber, and so many parallels. I mean, this is definitely a Darth Vader in the making. Like, there's no denying that. And Obi-Wan's just trying to tell him, like, hey, like, take it easy. Your job as a Jedi is to defend life, not take it, And I think people misinterpret that role of the Jedi a bit. Is Jedi are peacekeepers. The fact that they were involved in the Clone Wars is problematic for them because they're not meant to be warriors. They're meant to negotiate, and if they have to defend people, that's when they use their lightsabers and martial arts and all that. And that's what he's trying to tell him. It's like, man, like, you're taking this a little seriously, like, calm down, and Obi-Wan does it so probably way more politely than I would as a teacher, that's for sure. But that's what's kind of going on in the present day is Vader is so like got tunnel vision like on Obi-Wan right now. He's blinded by his desire to beat Obi-Wan, and that's no different here. Is he's so keen to just overpower Obi-Wan or to like be better than him, and that's what's going on here. Is we're seeing the parallels between what's happened in the past and what's going on in the present. So I just it was brilliant.
Christian, follow that. What have you got that Bailey didn't catch?
My God.
Yeah.
I mean, so Anakin is relentlessly talking about Kenobi. Are you ready? And all this sort of stuff. It's very aggressive dialogue. And to be honest with you, all I kept thinking was after that breakdown that we did, where Bailey explained to me that potentially the reason the music wasn't so dramatic during that fight was because obviously Kenobi wasn't ready. And we had that reference to Hook. So all I pictured was Robin Williams running around crowing and flying and stuff. And it was brilliant. And then Vader obviously delivering that line. It's not them we need to break. Now, is he referring to Kenobi mentally? We need to break him to draw him out, or is he talking literally? We need to go and smash stuff up. It really resonates, and as we've said a couple of times, this simple duel, this training is literally telling us exactly what's going on in the current situation, and it shows how little Anakin has learned in that time. So it kind of it's nice. It reinforces everything.
So far, I think Josh and then Jonathan have been the harshest critics of the series. And I want to point out that the alternate opinions are welcome here. And I appreciate you guys putting those in there, because in a chat and a panel full of people that love a show, you got to really lay it on the line, if you know what I'm saying, to say, hey, you know what, I kind of disagree. And you guys have been very pleasant and polite about it, and I appreciate that. Jonathan's not a big fan of the music in this one. The funny thing is, I think the music is awesome because it leaves me wanting more each time, which I think is what it was meant to do. But some people don't like that. Quick thoughts on the music, Bailey. Are you enjoying it? Or what do you think?
I mean, it's interesting because I'm very big into like soundtrack and music, but I've just been so overwhelmed by what we've been getting in the story and what's happening on screen that I guess I'm just not paying attention to the music. Like, I notice it's there, and I love the opening credits theme. I do love that a lot. But I'm just not paying attention. I mean, I guess that, it's interesting, some people pay attention to things that others won't, but yeah, I haven't given it much thought because I'm just so overwhelmed by what I'm seeing on screen that I'm just not. Yeah, I don't know. And it could be just the fact that I think TV shows are a little different in that way. Like in a movie, like, yeah, music is very integral to, what's going on screen. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert, y'all. But yeah, I haven't really paid attention, honestly.
So in your case, Bailey, although the music is not overwhelming you, it's not detracting from the experience. You're just not even noticing it. It's seamlessly filling in.
No.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I'm enjoying
Christian?
it.
Yeah. Christian, what are your thoughts on the music? Or do you have any?
So I mean, I've the only time that I've actually mentioned the music was that episode where we had the showdown between Kenobi and Vader, because I mentioned when Reva walked across that hall in the, I can't remember what you guys call it, Castle Inquisitorius or something.
Fortress Inquisitorius.
When she walks across that room, the music was so dramatic and epic. And then, that was the same episode whereby we finally get the duel between Kenobi and Vader. And I felt the music was pretty lackluster, to be honest. But obviously, you guys discussed that with me, and you explained that you felt that was intentional to reinforce this idea that Kenobi's not ready for this fight. And I really appreciated that, and I think that that's really clever filmmaking. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't really comment beyond that. It's not upset me, but when I have been put out by it, I've appreciated it for different reasons. Fair
enough. And I think for the most part, people are either equivocal or not noticing the music in the series. So like I said, I want to point out something here one more time. Josh and Jonathan, I appreciate the fact that you're willing to give us some extra perspective on this, from the different side, and that you feel comfortable enough to do that here. That's important in my space, and that, we all get along at the end of the day because we're all still Star Wars fans. So thank you. Nobody's coming down on you here for sure.
Well, another thing I want to point out too, because I was saying how maybe TV is just different than movies, but I didn't really think much of the music when I was watching Clone Wars and Rebels, they have some themes that when it was huge, impactful moments, they have a really good soundtrack. But for the most part, that's not what I'm paying attention to, when I'm watching those shows. Again, it could be just a me thing. I don't know, maybe, but I think maybe it's just a TV thing. I don't know.
And all of those, the good thing about this subjective analysis of a TV show, everybody's opinion, you two, everybody in the chat, it's all valid, it's all accurate, and it's all right. And that's what I love about this. Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on, and then I'm talking a lot, but Josh actually said something in the last breakdown you guys did for Book of Boba Fett. He said something that really resonated with me, which was, it's not hate, it's passion. And I thought that was beautifully delivered. I don't know if he read that somewhere or if he stole it from someone, but if he came up with that off the cuff, so much respect to you, Josh, because that was a beautifully way to put it. Yeah. Josh did a good job with us last book. Book of Boba Fett was a slog, and he stuck it out through us the whole time, in addition to what he had going on in his life at the time. And Josh was a trooper. We loved having him last time. His opinion will always be welcome in my chats. And as you guys can see, I haven't made him a moderator, so in case anybody decides to give him a hard time, he can just get rid of him himself. Oh, let's see. Oh, man, the chat is Andy. I think Reva will kill Luke, but somehow he returned. When oh, boy, why don't you just trigger everybody, Andy? Christian, I'd like to go back over to you. Thank you, Steve-O. Thank you, because I know over at Steve-O's channel, too, they're 100% positive, whether you like it or not. Yeah, anger leads to hate. Hate leads to the dark side. The dark side has cookies. Matt, go for it. And in addition to that, I'll just say, well, it was nice talking to you. I'll see you. I'll bring you back after Josh gets rid of you. And Josh said that's all original, Christian. Thank you. So, Christian, this is our jam. It's the troopers and stuff. We'll head right back over. They get to the planet because they were tracking him. Vader says, "Start the attack." What do you think, brother?
Just epic. This is like I keep saying epic. I hate myself for that. This was like Rogue One levels, like we're seeing full out warfare, lots of troopers focused on a point. We've got innocent people trapped with a single Jedi defending them. I mean, what more do you want? This was like, this is culminating in exactly what we've all been looking for, and we all know that Vader is right round the corner. What more do you want?
Right. Bailey, I'm going to go over to you, but I want to point something out as a stormtrooper guy. Now, obviously, at this point, I don't have any third-party information. I have some suspicions, but the guys can't talk to me for the most part unless it's already been advertised. Hence, Artisher, Casey, some of those other guys. If you look at this really quick, I want to point it out. I'm going to make myself. Well, I don't need to. Look at the stormtrooper behind me. Look at his legs. See how there's very little black. Look at his shoulder bells over here. Very little black. You know what? I'm just going to do this really fast. You can see how well the armor fits. So when I look at this scene, Christian, I think I can tell. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to get some what's the word I'm looking for here? Some confirmation of this later. The guys in front, I think, are like stunt actors or something. But I think these guys in back are 501st because if you look at their armor, it is spot perfect on. So when they can talk to me, I'm definitely going to have to pick Artisher and Casey's brain and stuff because I'm super excited. I was like, I think that might be my boys, but man, I can't wait till I find out. But you can totally tell the difference in the armor. And throughout the series, the shoulder bells and the thighs have been way off on the stunt actors. And so that's how you can immediately tell the difference. So Bailey, I know the troopers really aren't your jam and stuff. And I see you over there nodding off as I go into 501st costuming. I appreciate you putting up with me, but what did you get from this? Did you get that feeling of dread? Like, oh no, what are they going to do now?
Oh, I was like, yeah, like this is like, I was like, just excited. It's as Christian says, it's epic. I mean, what is there to say? You know, they're blowing up a door, and we know like how not ready these people on the other side of the store is. So we know, like, again, this show does a brilliant job with the anxiety and its suspense and keeping me engaged. So I love it.
I agree. Jonathan, that would have been cool. I was really hoping to see some ATSTs at least, you know, because of
They're a little big, no?
Well, there you go.
For that space.
Yeah, no doubt, right? But Sean makes a good point. I like these scenes, but we are seeing a little bit of the restrictiveness of shooting in the volume. You can't bring big vehicles in there and really get involved with them, although they do a good job. KC noticed, his sniper shin's a bit twisted and stuff like that. If you nitpick on that stuff. Let's check with Evan here. My only nitpick on this scene was that it was pretty cheap based on the set. It looks small. You could just clearly see it's a room in a warehouse. Well, I think you can see a little bit of that sometime, but overall, it's not too bad. I think there's a female, smaller stormtrooper in there too, Peter. And then Josh beefing on the buckets. Typical. Yeah, that's what I do, man. Michael knows. Christian, I need the new Phase 2 Purge Trooper, and I need that helmet now. I thought I was done collecting helmets, but anyway. Hoppy says
Cool.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Hoppy says that the stunt guys are wearing Rogue One armor, not TK. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because the Rogue One stormtroopers, I think, looked a little off too. But anyway, we'll be able to find out soon. So let's see. Geek. I definitely have more respect for this series because they use 501st fans as stormtroopers and extras. Absolutely. And that the reason why I think this is 501st guys is that at the end of each episode, they have thanked the Southern California garrisons down there. So I'm pretty sure they're probably in there. Where are we going next? Bailey, you know we do this once an episode. I geek out on my girl and my guy Artisher. I didn't catch Artisher anywhere in this one, but give me a ladder. Come on, man. That's cool, right, Bailey?
I would have requested the same thing because I'm small too. So if I needed to get somewhere, I'd be like, give me a ladder. I use a step stool when I teach. I'm not going to lie. I was just like, yeah, I understand. But yeah, this is, again, very Princess Leia. And what I love is just the natural progression of Obi-Wan and Leia's relationship is she says, give me a ladder. And at first they're like, oh, I don't know. And Obi-Wan's like, get her a ladder. I trust her. So I love that. Just the progression of her character. And what's amazing is Leia progresses, yet we still know it's Princess Leia. And this little girl, we'll say this every single episode, she's doing a wonderful job. And she's a natural leader and she gets stuff done. And that's why we love her. So yeah, I thought this was great. And again, just seeing Obi-Wan just finally, like, you know, you could tell a weight's been lifted off his shoulder and he's just like, yeah, get her a ladder. You heard what she said, get her a ladder.
Yep. I loved it when he backed his girl. Christian, I'm going to go over to you real fast, but I want to answer this question. Paul, off topic slightly. Do you think the upcoming Black Series helmet will be a Purge Trooper helmet or a Biker Scout? It'll be neither. They're going to repaint the Bo-Katan helmet to make a new Mandalorian female or the Koska Reeves. That's my prediction. I'm going to the bank with that one. We won't see either of these two for quite some time if we ever do, because it's a new mold. Christian, I trust her. Do you trust me? Come on, man. That's an epic line. What do you got from this scene?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was great writing, because what we realize is, and it upsets me that I've forgotten this guy's character's name, but O'Shea Jackson sees this little girl exactly for what she is, which is a very little princess. And when she says, "Get me a ladder," he is looking at her and he is thinking, I am trying to get this ship ready. I'm trying to unlock this door. I'm trying to save these people. It's not playtime. And then when General Kenobi says, "Get her a ladder," he realizes, right, okay, I respect him. I completely believe in him. We'll do this. And I just thought that was great dialogue. And it was quick. It wasn't labored over, which seems to happen in some of these series. It was so quick. It was like boom, 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 done. And it helps. It helps move the story along.
Fair enough. And Jonathan, that makes sense. I do hope you're wrong. Yeah, I'm not going to be wrong. They're going to use that mold. Casey said she's actually 10 years old. And then let's see, Bailey, I know how you feel. I'm a short guy. I might have to carry out some more stuff. And I love the way you're sitting right now, Bailey, because it really brings into sharp focus how small you are, because you look so tiny in your frame because you're normally leaning forward. But for those of us that know Bailey in real life, she is a wisp of a human being. She's a tiny little thing, so I can carry her as a purse. Oh, and everybody giving love in the chat. Kristen, I want to go right back to you because they introduced something that we've kind of maybe forgotten about a little bit here, but it all brings it back into sharp focus. What you got?
Yeah. So Bale is obviously breaking rules here. And as we find out, that's to drive the story on. But basically, when I saw this happening, it was good because we had this whole flipping situation. So Kenobi's mission is to get Leia back to Bale, get her back to safety, get her back to Alderaan. And then he is stunted because he realizes there's all these innocent people that have helped them. He needs to help them now. And then he sort of goes off to do whatever. He goes off to see what this message is, because this is what the second time in 10 years this thing's gone off. And of course it's Bale saying, I've not heard from you. I hope Leia's okay. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to go for Luke. We're all sat here and we're thinking, oh Christ, what's going on? What happened? Who's intercepting this message? What, and yeah, you can see that he's stressed because he does the whole twirling of the torch. It's brilliant. It sucks us right back into the seriousness of the situation. After the relatively light conversation of "get me a ladder," that's kind of funny, even though it's quite serious.
Yes. Bailey, I'm going to go on to you on this one, but now's your chance for us to drive up to the Northwest and smack Josh.
Well, here's the thing, Josh. I can't be furry because it's too hot here. And because it's so hot, I have to wear shorts and short-sleeved shirts and tank tops a lot. So I have to shave on a daily basis. So no, unfortunately, I can't be furry for you.
And for a moment, we're going to talk about women's personal hygiene. I love it. Thank you, Bailey. I appreciate that. Josh, sorry.
Answering a question. You ask, I answer.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, be careful where you go with the conversation, Josh. Bailey will jump right on it. I love it. I want to point this out. Jonathan thinks that the message is pure BS writing. I think BS writing is a little strong. I think it was a little bit of a plot device to get us, to where we're going later. But Bailey, BS writing, plot device, somewhere in between. What'd you think?
I knew this was going to be an issue later, because one of the first things Bale says is, "I know I'm not supposed to call you," and we understand why that would be needed. Is don't call me, just in case, God forbid somebody, this comes into play later. Yeah. So I hear that, I'm like, this is going to bite us in the ass soon. I understand what Bale was saying, he's just a concerned dad and just wants to make sure everything's okay. But you're welcome, Josh. Anytime, ask me anything, I will tell all. I felt a little bit of frustration because I just knew, like, I know I'm not supposed to call you, and yeah, this can be an issue later. Like, Obi-Wan's got enough going on, and it's like, this is gonna, yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little torn. Obviously, Bale should be smarter than this because he knows what he's going. But I also recognize that it really, for me, it sets up a really cool cliffhanger at the end. So I'm just gonna, what did we talk about last time? I'm just gonna let it go and be cool with it because it didn't bother me enough to be upset. So,
but also just to throw it out there, my initial reaction was kind of similar to what Jonathan came out with there, but. I mean, yeah, there you go. People say silly things when they're worried. I'm not being funny, but is there can anything trump fear for your own child? And at this stage, Bale sees Leia as his daughter. We all know that she is adopted, but at this stage, Bale is her father. And she is his daughter, and she has been kidnapped by the darkest people you can imagine. I don't think any protocol is stopping a father from trying to find out if her daughter's okay, his daughter's okay.
That's a good point. And Sean makes it was literally a plot device he was calling. Yeah, good point. So, I think Casey puts it best. Bale is a worried father. It is a little bit of a plot device, but you can see how it can happen. Christian, I know you can see how it can happen now for sure. My daughter's Bailey's age. If I knew she was in the hands of ISIS, I might say or do stupid things trying to, so. But clearly, and then somebody jumped the gun and said, we're going to talk about him later on. Good, cool. Bailey, I'm a big fan of this character, and she just really brought it home for me this time. But when she sees the worry on Kenobi's face and starts talking about, hey, why I got into this, what did you think of this scene and the character? How's she doing?
I just feel so much for this poor woman who has just. She really, and it would be interesting to see that part of the story of the empires. People truly thought that they were signing up for a good cause, probably in the beginning, and then she sees something horrific, something that, she was completely powerless in the situation she was in, and she saw, a bunch of families get, murdered, and she's on the opposite side of that, wearing that uniform, and just that realization of like, oh, I'm on the wrong side of the fence, and that's something she can't undo, and that is haunting. It really is, and it makes me feel so much for this woman, and that's incredible. Like, she's only been in 3 episodes, and the same with like a lot of these people that we just got to know, is you care so much, and yeah, you just want to hug these people. Like, you really do. Right. Like, you want to hug Obi-Wan, you want to hug Tala, like, you just want to hug everybody, because everyone has lost something, and that is a reoccurring theme, regardless of which side you are in this, dilemma, is everyone's lost something, and how they're dealing with it is different. And I think that's very beautiful, because this is something that echoes in real life, how people cope and deal with things that they've lost, or trauma and all that. So yeah, I thought this was great, and it just made me love her even more.
Agree. Christian, I'm going to go over to you, but I have, where I used to come from, we call this a check welfare situation. Andy says Ben brings Leia back to Tatooine, where she meets Luke. They kiss and begin in a lifelong romance. And he said something strange earlier. And my only question to Andy is, have you been drinking today, bro? Are you okay? What's going on, man? Your head's in a strange space today. Even Shabby's like, Andy, are you all right, mate? Okay.
He picked up a life-size R2 today. So, what's going on in Andy's world, it's probably all a little bit weird. Anyway, just before I comment on this, I just want to say I hope I didn't upset CK with what I said there. Actually, what CK brought up means entirely what I'm saying. It's very easy for us as audience members to watch this and see this as 2 children that have been given to a couple of families to look after. That's not the case at all. These people are now a part of their family, and that's exactly why Bale is performing the way he's performing, because he is her father and he is terrified. But yeah, just to jump into this, of course, this is such a nice nod back to sort of, Second World War. On the side of aircraft, you have your kill streaks on helmets. People would mark them. Of course, Boba Fett, he has them. This is something that happens a lot in the Star Wars universe. So it was a really nice touch for us to see this. It's cool that she keeps it so intimate. In a lot of cases, they're worn like a badge of honor. Look at how many aircraft I've shot down. Look at how many kills I've got. But the fact that she conceals it, it says two things. It says either she's a spy, she can't show this off, or she's not proud of it. This is something that she's had to do, and she's done it for the right reasons. But this little touching moment between Kenobi and Tala, it is Tala, isn't it? I'm saying that right. It was really nice because it helps boost the situation. It reinforces Kenobi, and it was empowering. And after last week's episode, which was all about Tala, we had her come back in here, and again, integral.
Absolutely. Two things. Casey and I have known each other since basically high school, Christian, since we were late teens, early 20s. There's no way you're going to offend that man whatsoever. You don't need to apologize. His sense of humor is more sarcastic than you and I put together. So that's why we get along. And I forgot all about this, Sean, and I think that's brilliant. Although Bailey made a good point, this show is doing an excellent job of showing us just how evil the Empire could be. They're also showing that there are real humans in there with real emotions going, what the heck is going on here? And, Bill Burr shooting that officer when he realized, this is crap and this is awesome. So, yeah. There you go. It's hidden because it's personal, just for her, not for bragging. Exactly. Good point, Christian. What do we got from Evan up here? My dad's adopted, and his adopted father was his father, and his adopted mom is his mom. She was inflated, and dad, so it's not. Yeah, exactly. Either adopted. Well, what do they say? You can't choose your family. You can only choose your friends. So if someone deliberately brings you into their home, i.e. Leia and Bail Organa, that's even more, not more special. It's a different kind of special that's just as important, I think. So all good points. Christian, let's stick with you for just a second. Obi-Wan says, you know what? Tell her I want to go. I'm going to go talk to her. And they start the dump truck of revelation. Go, brother.
Yeah, so I mean, it's quite difficult for me to see that image, but yeah, this is the moment whereby he realizes that he needs to do something drastic, and of course he goes up and he speaks to Reva. I mean, I don't know how far you want me to talk about this, but of course this is the moment that, well, it's just realization, isn't it? We've been talking about this for weeks now. Bailey suggested, I think it was maybe episode 2, you turned around and dropped, I think that she's one of the younglings. And from then I couldn't get it out of my head. And I said every episode I was trying to sort of find things to justify that belief. And of course, she says it all here. Everything we thought was happening has happened to her. Now, I've got to be honest, I was shocked that she came out with all of this at this stage. I thought that this would be held on to the last episode, potentially season 2. So for her to just come out with it, I found quite shocking. And also, I've got to be honest, quite exciting, because it made me question where her loyalties lie. And the more she spoke about it, the disdain she has for Obi-Wan, he left them, the hatred that she has for Anakin is well, it's palpable, unbelievable, and the pain. Her face has changed at this stage. She's talking from the heart. She hasn't got this bravado anymore. I just thought that this was a real sort of moving moment, and I've got to be honest. I thought that they were just going to be, having a few words and they'd go off and the battle would continue. But the fact that she explained all of this, I don't know. I thought it was fantastic. And seeing her as the Padawan and seeing Anakin coming for her. And yeah, I mean, I just thought it was beautifully done.
Bailey, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go to you in just a second here, Bailey. But Josh brings up a good point. Was anyone expecting Reva's backstory not to be that little girl from the temple? And I'm going to tell you what, I'll be honest, I was so wrong, because I didn't think they were going to be connected, because it just seemed, I don't want to say too obvious, but it seemed too perfect. And we've been lulled into a false sense of security with the bait and switch. It was actually surprising that it was to me, Jonathan. Bailey, I know this one hits you right in the the blood pumper there. What do you got with this one, man?
Oh, it was just, I mean, to be honest, it was a confirmation of, what we've been saying this whole time. But to me, this was a moment of Reva cracking. Like, she just got this Grand Inquisitor promotion. She doesn't want it. She has a different motive. And now you have Obi-Wan basically slapping her across the face mentally with, like, wait a minute. Unless you were like, bam, bam, like kind of forcing this confession out of her. And yeah, her mindset, I think, she's a little unhinged. And this is definitely that is a horrific thing, and what she was saying really does break your heart. She's like, we thought he was there to help us, so of course these kids are going to come out of hiding because they know Anakin Skywalker, and they're like, oh my God, he's going to help us. And then here he is just killing. I love how she says, like, they were the only family I knew. Like, she's this man that has had this reputation of being a war hero and just is killing children and their teachers and people they've looked up to. She has witnessed genocide, and out of fear, she played dead. And that's a lot, for a child to go through. I mean, it's awful, so you just really feel for her. I mean, it doesn't justify what she's done with it or how she's coped with it, but to me, this was a huge character moment for her. Is she's cracking because we now know, like, where she's coming from, and this will play into what we see her do later in the episode. So I just thought this was absolutely brilliant. And I will say, I do appreciate, even though we've had like the warning beforehand, I do like how they were tasteful with the filming, or how they filmed these shots. Like, it wasn't gory, and like we knew what he was doing, but I am glad they did not, the way they shot it was with taste, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it wasn't, like gory. I like that word. It wasn't, horrific. It got the point across, because it got the point across with me. Note to self, don't have a couple of drinks while watching these, because your emotions will get the better of you if you're not careful. Let's lighten this up a little bit. Jonathan, was Resin boy from the last episode among the younglings here? The general consensus amongst the Star Wars fandom is that yes. If you compare the face of that little kid that was in the resin with his hat to the little kid that's going around with Reva here, it's him. That's what everybody thinks. Obviously, we're not the writers, so we can't be 100% sure, but that's the consensus at this point. Bailey, I want to ask one more question about this scene. And Christian, I think you might have mentioned it, but I just kind of want to put a point on it. It's kind of a two-part question. Did it surprise you that we got this huge of an info dump all at once? And was it too much too fast, Bailey?
No, because it's like I said, this show was written to be 6 episodes. So this info dump doesn't surprise me, because that was probably always the intention, and we are towards the end. And given what we see later in the episode, it does make sense. And what I like about this show is it does a brilliant job of keeping things brief. Like that whole info dump didn't seem like I was sitting in a lecture, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like very, like, just through the dialogue, like, we got so much with so little, and I think this series has done a brilliant job with that. So no, this did not surprise me at all. This is exactly what I was expecting.
Christian, too soon and too much, or one of the both, or none?
I was surprised that it was dropped like this. But I wouldn't say too soon. I think, it kind of depends on what happens in the next episode, because, as I say, I felt like this was a finale in some aspects. But yeah, I don't think it was too soon. I was excited. I was quite literally on the edge of my seat. At this point, I was really leaning forward and paying attention to what she was saying. And yeah, I think it's kind of easy to sort of query it, because some of the horrendous things that she's done. She's killed a lot of innocent people and all the rest of it. But I guess what we have to do is we have to put ourselves into the perspective that as a child she saw her friends struck down by someone that she admired. She's going to question absolutely everything, and her moral compass is going to be all over the place.
Yeah. Agree. I was a little shocked. I thought they were, we're so used to what happened with the previous series, but it didn't. As it started, like Bailey said, it felt succinct. It felt real. It felt inherently a part of the show. And once I got into it, I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. Cool. So good. Bailey, I always start with Christian on these, but I'd like to get your opinion first, because Right after that, Reva's like, all right, I've had enough talky talk. Let's cut the door open and it's on. What did you think of this scene, ma'am?
Like, oof. Like, you know, shit's getting real. And it's, again, these people on the other side that Obi-Wan is defending are not as well equipped or trained as the people coming at them, easily outnumbered. And this was the point where I was like, tragedy is coming. Just knowing something bad's about to happen. But at the same time, it's like the action in this show, like when we do get action scenes, they are so well done. It's like mixed feelings at this point.
Yeah. Christian, I keep harping on it, and I know you're really humble about it, but you've done battle scenes before. How was this done? Did you like it? Did it leave you wanting more or feeling satisfied?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. This felt like a proper battle, a proper stormtrooper versus, you know, well, let's be honest, one Jedi and a load of civilians that are forced to pick up sticks and stones effectively. I mean, I'm all in. I loved it. The way that they shot it, a lot of it was handheld. It got more and more intense as well. Of course, they're being pushed back further into this cave. So somebody mentioned earlier that the criticism of the volume and the limitations of it, but I thought this was really well done because, of course, you know, financing TV shows versus films is completely different. And the fact that this was all designed to be in this network of caves, I thought was genius because it felt claustrophobic. It increased that intensity. And we had shots where stormtroopers were running past certain people and going for others, you know, and I mean, fortunately, I've never been in this situation myself, but I can well imagine that when you're in that sort of effectively hand-to-hand combat, you're that close, you're going to start picking your targets and going for them. And just that sheer chaos of, you know, trying to hold these people back and they're running past you. I mean, you know, there's quite a few times that Kenobi and Tala are like looking to their sides and there's troopers behind them, you know, they've got behind them already. And I mean, I just thought it was great. I mean, I thought that Rogue One was brilliant with the way that they had their attacks on Scarif, but I thought this was brilliant. I really did. And the fact that they're fighting against civilians, these guys aren't even like, I don't mean to offend them, but they're not even true rebels in the sense, you know, that these guys aren't soldiers. But, just great. This is what I want.
Absolutely. I was shocked at it was like, it looked like World War I trench battle warfare or stuff that we saw in like a Gladiator where like bad guys are behind you because they've passed you and you're fighting with, and I was like, are you kidding me? I rewound this scene like 6 times. I was like, oh my God. This is why I love having Casey in the show. It's not letting any cats out of the bag. This was not the volume. Man, I tell you what, when I'm going to drag him and Artisher and a couple of my buddies on, and they're just going to spill the beans when they can. So thanks, Casey. I appreciate that. Matt, you're the bomb. 25 watching, only 24 likes. Someone knows the shade. It's all good, man. I just appreciate having people here to watch us. Thank you so much, though. Let's come down and make sure it was all handled cool, but kind of stagecrafty. Oh, yeah, well, you're going to get that, I think, because you still have to, what do you call it? I think this group is called Phoenix. No, Phoenix is the hell Bailey and I live in. Left coast. Yeah, and it was straight out melee, pure chaos. Exactly. This is the first time we've seen hand-to-hand combat that I'm aware of in Star Wars. Uh-oh, Christian. We got us a Tez in the house. Look at that. Christian's awake. Yeah, Tez, good to see you. Christian, I want to stick with you because we've talked several times throughout this series about them doing an excellent job of making us feel for characters that otherwise didn't have a lot of dialogue or a lot of stuff. But that even goes as far as this silly mute robot, man. What are you thinking here?
Honestly, guys, I mean, I think about things way too much in general. But when this scene took place, it got me. It really got me. And I couldn't believe how much it got me, given that we've not seen that much of this character. They have no facial expressions. They haven't spoken, and yet my heart was aching for this character. And even now, I can't entirely figure out what was happening. It was so beautiful. The way that obviously, you know, Kenobi is getting back. Tala has been hit. She's hit the ground. Ned, is it Ned B?
Ned B. Yep.
Ned B. He's still stood there taking these guys out, and then he gets hit multiple times. And after he's been hit so many times, he turns and looks at Tala, who's on the floor, and he starts walking towards her. And I was trying to figure out what was going on here. Initially, it felt like, this is just a droid that's sort of returning to its owner because it doesn't understand what's happening to him. And then I started to think this is a toddler going to its mum because it's in pain. Mm-hmm. And then the way that she's looking at him, it almost felt like there was some sort of a connection, like, and then I just realized that it's just love, irrespective of what it is, this is love. And his dying moment is shielding her, which gives her the time to do what she does. And I just thought this was unbelievable. I mean, K2SO was sad, the way that he sacrificed himself, unbelievably sad. But that character spoke the whole way through that film, and we felt for him because of his comedic timing and all the rest of it. This character didn't speak, and I felt as strongly, if not more, for him or her.
Do you remember Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome? There was the big dude in the mask that he had to fight, and they hire him to kill the guy. I think it was Master Blaster, and he finally knocks his helmet off, and it's clearly a large man with Down syndrome, and he's just a kid under there. That's the vibe I got off this. It's this big, huge brute who, at the end of the day, as you put it, is just a toddler, and you're like, oh my God, and he's shielding Mama as he goes down. Come on, man, it's a robot. Bailey, are me and Josh just old saps, or where we're going next? But what did you think of the robot thing, girl?
I mean, I was in tears during this scene, just knowing what was happening. And that's incredibly hard to do. Like, I am not one to cry easily, when I watch stuff. And this got me for similar reasons that you guys have stated. But for me, there was some comfort in this moment, knowing that these two are not alone in their final moments. Like, they have each other, and I think that's what really got me too, is like, I know, like, these two are going down, and they're going down for a good cause, but they're not alone. They have each other, and so much is being said with no dialogue, and it just really just gets you. And I'm not a cinematography type person, but I just have to say, the way they filmed this part, I mean, you got Obi-Wan just screaming in the background, like Tala, like, and he's just being ambushed, just the close-ups, and just like the way it was done just really just sent it home. So that is one comfort I got from this. So a part of me was like, oh yeah, here we go, another woman going down the drain. But at the same time, it was like, oh, at least they have each other. It's kind of like Rogue One, how they're holding on to each other when the planet's being blown up. At least they have each other. I took solace in that.
That's a good point. Christian, did I call you Josh again?
Of course.
I'm dead serious, not being facetious. I apologize. I don't know what my problem is. I've never had this problem before, so I don't mean to be disrespectful. So sorry. Oh,
it's all good.
Oh, Bailey, I'm just getting old and stupider by the moment over here. Bailey, I'm going to stick with you because I hate it that you're right, but I'm happy that you're right. And Joe Blake puts it best. And I just about lost it. Look at her face. Girl, what did you feel about this one, Bailey?
It made me think back to what she was literally just saying, before, how she feels so much guilt for the people she couldn't save. And now here she is about to do what she couldn't do before. And it's just so tragic. Yeah, it was just very much and what's so beautiful about this is it didn't seem like a typical self-sacrifice scene to me. Like, this just carried so much weight just based on what she said before, and now she's about to do what she couldn't do. And I just think that's a beautiful ending for Tala. As much as I wanted her to live, if she had to go down, you talk about full circle. She joined the Empire under false pretenses, saw something she wished she could erase, and now here she is on the other side of the fight, and she's about to save a bunch of people, because otherwise they probably more lives probably would have been lost easily. If Obi-Wan is overwhelmed, then so is everyone else. So the tears were just flowing, y'all.
Christian, I'm going to come over to you, but I'm a little behind on the comments, but you would be surprised how many people agree with the three of us. Ed, Casey said something that's pretty haunting here. If you go back and look at that other picture, the light is illuminating her face from his eyes. Look at that. What a great, now that I see that, I can't unsee it. That's just amazing to me. And, you know, yeah, a little bit of humor on Shanti's part. Yeah, I might be. Who knows? He's a good-looking guy. Sorry, I keep calling everybody. Yeah, it's the mustache. You're absolutely correct, Shabby. And then Josh and Christian are so similar, just like Peter and Paul. Fair enough. Let's see. Yeah, Christian, you've been called worse. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, yeah, honestly, aren't we all in love with Josh? Yeah, Matt, good point. But I think she, once the droid went, she was like, all right, I've done all I'm going to do. I'm ready to be done with this world. I've been there myself. Good God. Josh,
I mean, I think when you're bleeding out and so much is going on, I don't think you're thinking things through. She just knew, like, I have to do this, you know?
Exactly. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Let's end all our suffering and pain. I've done what I can. You know what I mean? Christian, please tell me you felt some emotion at this. I know you did.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. Obviously not great, but I thought this was beautiful. This was a beautiful moment. This was very Rogue One with, I can't remember the names, Chirrut Inway and Baze Malbus. You know, the fact that those two they're united through everything, and then one dies and the other is totally lost, and then he goes very quickly, obviously chanting to himself, I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me. And the fact that the last thing she says is "May the Force be with you." I mean,
yes,
I thought it was perfect. You know, she's everything that a Jedi would be if she was Force sensitive. And yeah, I mean, she's a soldier as well. She's a true soldier. She knows that she would be holding Kenobi back if she tried to make it out of there. You know, she's been shot through the stomach. She is bleeding out. Even if there was a chance she could survive, how is she getting out of there? So she basically, you know, she saves them time.
Absolutely.
Very, very poignant, Paul.
I got my Riva Memorial rank plaque on. We're gonna you know, pour some out for Riva. Have a moment of silence because dead serious. Tala, yeah, not Tala. Yeah, I'm messing everybody's names up. Oh my God, I should just stop doing these. I can't get it. Oh, anyway, I've got my Tala Memorial rank plaque on. Let me get it right there. So I ordered that at the beginning of the series when, if you look at this, everybody thought the color might actually be green. And if you look at that first scene, it looks like she's in green, but it's actually blue. But anyway, great scene. I was absolutely shocked at the poignancy of this whole thing, and they did such a good job. But Bailey, I agree with you. She's been shot in the stomach. Her best friend's gone. Christian put it best. Baze and you know, and Chirrut. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and I know. Yeah. Well, somebody said it earlier. They, you know, yeah, I'll be all right. Anyway, Bailey, I'd like to go back over to you. I was a little confused what the hell he was doing to begin with here, but you know more about the Jedi than I do, so I'd like to have you start off talking about the scene, if you don't mind. Because he's given up all his weapons, and he's like, I'm going to go out there and turn myself in. I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's what the genius of Obi-Wan, and I think a lot of people enjoy this about him as well, is there are other ways of fighting, and the Jedi preach this a lot, is, you know, their lightsaber is kind of like their last resort, but they will try to negotiate and counsel before. And so I thought this was a huge move. Like, I don't even think I would have the guts to do it, to like leave everything behind and face, you know, Reva, and, you know, be on my knees, you know, with nothing, knowing who's coming for me. So I just thought this was brilliant, and I just knew we were going to get more mind games between him and Reva, and it's just so intriguing. Just really reinforces just what a brave man this guy is, and he really is risking it all, because, you know we got Luke back on Tatooine, and here he is, you know, leaving everything behind to go talk to, you know, Reva. So it's definitely anxiety provoking, but also just stays true. Like, it just shows that he's a Jedi through and through. He is the negotiator, you know, as Grievous would say.
Absolutely. Christian, did it shock you when he gave up all his weapons and said, I'm going to go out there and just turn myself in?
Yes, I had no idea where this was going. I was sort of again on the edge of my seat, thinking, what is going on here? Initially, I thought, why on earth is he giving everything to Haja?
Yeah.
Um, and then I thought to myself, Haja is the only man in that room that's got past an Inquisitor at this stage. You know, he's come face to face with an Inquisitor and managed to talk his way out of it. So Kenobi is fully aware that if there's someone in that room that can probably talk themselves out of the situation and come across as a grey man, without getting the comments. But yeah, I thought that was quite clever. But the fact that he was disarming himself and literally handing himself to the wolves, I thought was brave. Not only literally, but from a writing point of view. You know, where are they going to go with this? Because I was concerned that we were going to end up with another face-off with Vader, which, you know, knowing that there's another episode, not sure where that was going. So yeah, I was excited to see what was going to happen.
Yeah. Christian, stick with you. For a brief moment, I thought we were going to get a Count Dooku scene. She actually looks like she went along with it. Did this shock you? And what did you think of this?
Yeah, so I couldn't work out at this point. I couldn't work out at this point which way we were going. I thought that it was again very brave for Kenobi to be explaining everything to her. At this point, we obviously know exactly what Reeve is all about, but it's a risky game to play because we know that she has a lot of frustration for Kenobi. We don't know how far really at this point, but we know that she has some hatred towards him and she's prepared to kill innocent people. But as soon as I saw him returning into the base with only 2 stormtroopers, I realized that, okay, she's playing along.
And that's when I realized the two of you are two of the smartest people that I get to interact with in regards to this, because somebody said she didn't want to hurt Leia. She didn't want to do because she was after 2 other people. And that's when this started to come into fruition. Bailey, did you see this coming, or were you expecting a Count Dooku moment as well?
I figured she wouldn't be, you know, killing him, because I think, you know, at this point she's quite vulnerable. I think she comes off as someone that's just, she wants him to like apologize, you know, for everything type thing. Like she's kind of waiting for that. Like she wants validation for her pain. Well, you can't really get that if you just kill somebody. Where's the satisfaction in that? So this is someone who is clearly wanting something or waiting for something to happen. And we see Vader do this similar, you know, like just like, yeah, she's waiting for something to happen. And she knows that she definitely, we still know she's got something up her sleeve. So I was not surprised that she's, because this is like, I don't know, it's kind of like she finally got the audience she wanted after all these years. So she gets to really talk and be her true, show her true colors and be upset. So Obi-Wan's kind of like her punching bag right now. And I don't think she'd be willing to kill that, you know. I don't think she wants to kill him. Because Obi-Wan wasn't necessarily the one that killed her friends, you know. She's mad at Obi-Wan because she figured, you know, well, he's your student. You should have, what did you know? He was evil this whole time. Where were you, you know? But, you know, Obi-Wan wasn't directly responsible for those deaths either. So I think she just kind of wants someone to be upset with. And there he is.
You bring up some good points there, Bailey. Wow, I didn't think of a couple of those things. That's yeah. And then when she realizes, pick the bigger fish. Yeah. Evan brings up something that I think I can explain away pretty quickly. My nitpick with this scene is how none of the stormtroopers heard anything they were saying. And then JT says those stormtroopers weren't even looking. I can tell you that my guess, and I guarantee, and Christian, if you'd like to weigh in on this, is that they may have heard something, they may not. It would not have mattered, because none of those stormtroopers is going to do anything against those two. They're just going to stand there and do whatever they're told, because this is what happens when you build a military on fear and terror. Christian, I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, those troopers, I mean, what would they do? Even if they sort of stood out of line, they'd be shot down, you know? They are there very much to serve a purpose. They're not to be heard, seen and not spoken. And yeah, I just wanted to touch on the fact that Kenobi at this point turns around and he says, you know, that there are women and children here. You know, this is your opportunity, and all the rest of it. And all that kept playing over in my head was the fact that potentially this goes back to what I was saying last week with that interrogation where she says these people will leave you behind too, and I think that echoes the fact that that's that. I mean, technically, potentially that happens here, and what are going to be the repercussions of that? So yeah, we'll talk about that shortly.
Absolutely. And even like I said, everybody agrees. Even if they did hear, they're not exactly the most sophisticated. They're just, if I heard all that, I'd be like, oh boy, those two are in trouble. Darth Vader's going to kill all of them. You know what I mean? Oh, and yeah. Let's see here. KC. Oops, it jumped. She blames all the Jedi for what happened. That's why she's been okay hunting them. We've done worse. Yeah, good point. And you know what? It's amazing what revenge will allow you to get away with to get to the ultimate prize. I've seen that before too. So, Bailey, over to you, ma'am. Darth Vader this is the most powerful we have ever seen him with the Force. Overdone, cool callbacks. What did you think of this, ma'am?
I thought this was super cool. And again, like I said earlier, they're doing a good job, making Vader cool and powerful and someone not to mess with. And we were talking earlier, I'm not as familiar with this game as like Fallen Order, but you were mentioning how this is kind of a callback to the Star Killer games. This is also, if you've ever been to Disney and, they have that Star Tours ride, and that's, part of it is Darth Vader coming for your ship. So it echoed that, I wasn't surprised, but yeah, I just thought this was a really, really cool scene of just like, oh, wow, this is just getting, the suspense is just getting better and better. I have no complaints. This cool scene.
Christian, everybody's off the chain in the comments. Vader and Vader at his apex. What you thinking, brother?
100%. Yeah. I mean, Evan there screamed out loud. I mean, I didn't scream, but I literally was like, what? This was amazing. And exactly as I said earlier, this is doing everything that we want for new audiences to start enjoying Star Wars. Go back to the original trilogy and enjoy it, because this will help you appreciate who Darth Vader is. Seeing this was just, I mean, it was beyond belief almost, that the sheer power that he has to stop this, the rage that he feels as well. I thought it was amazing, and bringing it down, and then when he starts to sort of just tear it apart like it's nothing, it was something to behold.
Agree. Unit Fam says something here that I wanted to touch on. I'll offer my theory and let you guys chime in. He's badass, but Vader's also dumb, completely missing Obi-Wan and allowing them to escape. But I think this is the point in the flashbacks that Obi-Wan's trying to make with him. Don't miss the forest for the trees. I know he feels there's people there, so he's like, they're in that ship, and he just and doesn't think for a second. He's not dumb. He's angry. And Bailey, I see you nodding your head. Go.
Well, yeah, because he's got a tunnel vision, and tunnel vision, I'm sure we can all speak from experience, does not serve us well. And again, it just, like you were saying, Paul, it goes back into his flashbacks, is Obi-Wan is like, your need for victory blinds you. And we see, like, Obi-Wan was able to take him out with his hands, no weapon. He was able to get the better of him because, it's like Obi-Wan was preaching in Attack of the Clones. You need to think, have patience, because when you let your emotions rule you, you're not your full self anymore. You're going to say or do something that might not be in character. And Vader is definitely no idiot, but the problem is he might make something that he might make a poor choice or a dumb decision because he is so blinded and so obsessed with getting to Obi-Wan that he just completely misses the possibility that Obi-Wan knows him and can outsmart him. So yeah, it's brilliant. It's a lesson to us all, really.
Yeah. And Christian, this is the very next flashback we get is him telling him, until you learn to not need victory, you're going to continue to be the Padawan. Are you agreeing with Bailey? Are you seeing the same thing about why he's not dumb? He's just tunnel vision.
100%. Yeah. He says you'll always be a Padawan, which is a nice nod, because, at the start of this, we were all talking about that line when the last time we met, I was the Padawan, you were the master, etc., etc. This is a beautiful callback to all of that, explaining that, because some of us were nitpicking about the dialogue. So this was quite a wonderful way to sort of bring that all in so that we can all sit there and go, oh, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, this sort of flipping back and forth was really helping, because it was almost, they were getting away with telling us what was happening, but in a storytelling way, if that makes sense. It was very clever. Vader doesn't say anything as he's pulling that ship down, but we're hearing sort of Hayden Christensen saying what he's saying in these scenes, and when we have this flashback, Obi-Wan says those lines, and he has a little smile at the end as he walks off. And of course, that's because at this point we're seeing the fact that Ewan sees him as his little brother. They're having a scrap and he's saying something, he's poking fun and smiling as he walks off. And the look on Anakin's face, you can see that rage is starting to bubble up. It was brilliant. It's a wonderful piece of the overall jigsaw puzzle.
Agree.
It kind of echoes what happened on Mustafar too. Is Anakin's like, don't underestimate power, and Obi-Wan's like, don't try it, and that's what Vader was doing. It's like, look how powerful I am. I could bring you down and crush your ship. And well, it's like he never learned, from the last time, is he was able to, cut his limbs up because he's so blinded by his anger. He couldn't see that, if I jump over Obi-Wan, what's gonna stop him from So I think it's good. It truly does show that Vader has not learned.
Yeah, they really brought to a fine point the foible of Anakin Darth Vader doing everything he can to prove to Obi-Wan that he's better than him, and never actually, people are saying it in the comments, even when he cuts him down, he's like, you did exactly what I wanted you to. You still haven't learned. So excellent point. Bailey, you've played, what was it, Fallen Order? The video games that have the Inquisitors in them, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Oh, this was awesome. And I knew that, of course, Vader's gonna best them, because Inquisitors, what makes them just kind of funny is they're never meant to be, not even close to the mastery or power of the people who command them. So I just thought this was so cool, and it just kind of reminded me of Vader with her was similar to what he was doing with Obi-Wan. It's like a cat playing with the mouse, I loved how he's just like, he's not in the slightest concerned. Like, he moves around her slowly, he's just dodging, he's approaching her. And she's like pulling out everything, like, look, I'm gonna use the helicopter part of my saber now, like she's like really like trying to get a hit on him, and he's just getting closer, turning everything, snaps it in half. And then what I loved is like, here we go, like, he's gonna just kill her, but no, he just tosses her a lightsaber and was like, come on, like, it's almost like and we find out later, why he was kind of doing that, but I just thought it was so brilliant, just someone just really giving their all, and he's like, he's just kind of toying with his food, his prey. Yeah,
good point. Christian, Matt, I thought you might helicopter away at one point, and we had talked about, God, please God, right? Did everything about this fight scene? Wow, Christian, what did you get out of this, man?
Yeah, this was brilliant. So of course, we were watching and we were wondering, is this the moment? Is she going to go for it? And when she does, and it pauses, I literally said, I didn't cry out, but in my head, I was just like, this is it. This is the end of her. And I thought that the fight that she put up, I thought it was cool. I've got to be honest. I thought it was cool. If you watch back some of the moves that she performs, it was very similar to some of the rooftop running that we saw. When we saw her running across the rooftop, I said that she had some moves where she was like running on all fours, and it felt very feline. Mm-hmm. She does that a few times during this fight, and it looks really cool. The thing is, Vader is stood there and he is barely moving. It's almost like he's laughing at her. Sean just put, it's not even playing, it's humiliating her. And the moment that he drops that saber to her, I was thinking about, I don't know if you guys have seen Apocalypto, but where they release those hostages to basically run, and then they take chances throwing spears and stuff at them. There's no chance she's surviving. It's to have fun. It's to make fun out of this situation. He's frustrated. He's just lost Kenobi again. So yeah, it was hard to watch because we finally, for certain, understood where she was coming from, and we understood the story, and to see it end like this wasn't nice, wasn't pleasant.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, because we'd actually almost started to feel for her a little bit, and she's yelling and screaming, and she's giving it her all and sweating, and he's just like, yeah, here, take it, try again. Oh, my saber. Oh, here, try again. I was like, yeah. Good God, dude, just kill her. Christian, stay with you. And one stomach only. Go.
Yeah, so your brother was right all along. I'm sure he's deep belly laughing somewhere.
No pun intended.
Yeah, this was great because, you know, again, she's obviously been she's been ran through the stomach effectively. She's on the floor, and he appears. We were all sort of questioning, you know, is he going to come back? Is he not going to come back? I certainly was. You know, I wasn't 100% sure, and when she got the title of Grand Inquisitor at the start of this, I certainly thought that was, you know, he was out. And yeah, the dialogue, you know, we're going to leave you where we found you, all of that sort of stuff. It made me think, you know, is she really dead? Is she not? Etc. Etc. And it kind of surprised me that they walked away from her while she's still technically kicking and screaming, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking these two guys are confident that she's going to bleed out on her own, which, you know, they wouldn't be aware of, but is one of her biggest fears. She's mentioned many times she doesn't want to be left alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Bailey, are you getting that? Like, they could have killed her, but leaving her like this is much to their liking. And what did you think of how they brought the Grand Inquisitor back?
I mean, I'm glad he came back, just to clear the question we had earlier. Is he really gone or not? And I did think it was clever that they were kind of, you know, toying with Reva this entire time. Like, she was being watched, and she really thought she was not on their radar. And I just thought this was a brilliant reveal. And yeah, it's kind of like full circle for her too, in a way, just different than Tala. But yeah, I am like curious as to how she could survive that. I mean, I don't know. We've seen characters go down for, to me, less. I don't know, like in the Fallen Order, Trilla just got slashed across the back and she was killed, where she was stabbed through the stomach and she's still up. So I don't know. So that kind of had me scratching my head a little bit there.
So it's at this point for Star Wars, especially with these TV shows and some of the like the animated stuff, I've just decided that when someone needs to be dead, they kill them. If they don't need to be dead, but they need to be incapacitated, they don't die. And there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of logic to it. So I think at one point, especially after Darth Maul and the Emperor, I just let it go. I'm like, all right, well, they may be dead, they may not be. Christian, I see you over there looking at me like I'm crazy. Am I crazy, or what are you getting out of that?
Completely agree. No one ever dies until they turn up as a Force ghost, which we may still see.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Everybody's commenting on the Grand Inquisitor's look. It looks like he's a lot closer to what he looks like in Rebels. Bailey, you're the authority on that. Someone said his costume looks different. Someone said he looks more undead. His lips are a different color. His eye makeup is different. Did you notice any of that, Bailey?
No, because I don't care. I don't know. You guys pay attention to things that I don't. I'm overwhelmed with other things than picking on how he looks.
Fair enough. Christian,
and
I'd like to go back.
Comparing live action to animation is a little silly to me too.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this in our pre-series primer. Oh, his head's too round. Yeah, and he's also a real human being in this, so give me a break. Yeah. I think people were mostly just like, you know, hey, he looks different. Nobody was complaining about his look this time,
Josh, to be fair, it's an odd time for us in Arizona. I might be a little hangry too.
Right. Yeah, some of us just got up. Some of us might be hungry and hot, hungover. You just don't know. Oh, yeah, of course, Casey. He's down to one stomach, though. That's why he gets skinny in Rebels. I love you, Casey. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, see, he did look more gray around the eyes, right, Christian? Wow, even Shanti's in on it now.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Oh.
Christian.
Well, you know what? At least Bailey and my brother back. I think my brother even said, "Hey, I wear gray jeans too, Christian. I'll take the hits with you." I thought that was very cool.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Christian, while I've got you here, yeah, we've got one of the same hyperdrives the Millennium Falcon has, and they're right on our butts. Happy? What did you get out of this?
Yeah, I mean it's classic Star Wars, isn't it? The Rebels never get a break. They're always in something that's breaking down. Something hasn't worked out the way they planned. It made sense to me, but it also felt very sort of it felt very Hoth-like, you know, Empire Strikes Back, ships escaping and failing, and dare I say it, very Last Jedi as well. You know, they're hot on the tail. And things aren't working. So it felt very in keeping with what happens to the Rebels, bless them. But yeah, it does have me thinking what's going to happen, because we've seen at what sort of level of strength Vader's at now. Yes, they're on his tail, and yeah, where's this going?
No doubt. Bailey, let's start the theories and predictions for next episode, because I get a huge sense that everything is now in place for us to wrap this up. Tell us what's going on here and where you think we're going next and what you thought of this.
So Reva finds the communicator that has Bale's, message on it, and so this is where I was like, here we go. This is why we don't call people. This is why we don't call people.
Right.
You wait until they contact you, because you just never know, like, what's going to happen to that device and whose hands it's going to run. And again, but at the same time, I'm like, how is she still up? So there was a little bit of that, but knowing what has happened to her, I mean, yes, this is a good cliffhanger for us, but like, what is she going to do with that information? So I thought this was a good cliffhanger, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, damn it, Bale, this is why we don't call people first. You got to wait. It's hard, but this is why.
Christian, Bailey makes a good point. I got an idea where we're going next and why, but specifically how and whether she's a good guy now or a bad guy. I think they left open to just keep us interested. Did you get that feeling, Christian, or did you get something else?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I feel incredibly conflicted, because I think there's so many different possibilities here. You know, of course, as someone just said, we are headed back to Tatooine one way or another, but of course, Kenobi still has to get Leia back to Alderaan and to Bail. Leia can't really be introduced to Luke, so there's going to be a lot going on in this next episode to make sense here. Now, as far as Reva's concerned, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, is she thinking she wants to go and get Luke to kill Luke because the fact that it's Vader's son, or is she going to hold him hostage to get to either Kenobi or Vader at this stage? I mean, is Reva sure that she's got to be sure? She's got to be, judging by what Bale said there. It's got to be. So yeah, I mean, is she going to go and try and kill Luke to stop this bloodline? Is she going to try and hold Luke hostage to get to either Vader or Kenobi? I mean, she can't really be in a position to hold up another fight against Vader. She's been left behind, like I said, so she could hate on Kenobi for not being there to save her. Or she could be going to try and help protect Luke, like, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. And people I mean, they obviously give us a little foreshadowing here, and people are saying it. Unit fam, the next episode is supposed to be an hour and a half long. And it's also, on the day it comes out in Disney Plus, it's also premiering in movie theaters. So I think it's going to be epic, and hopefully we'll get a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, it is. The reports on Twitter, I think that's been confirmed. Brian's action figures, it sure is. So as Josh put it, it's going to be an epic. It's going to be a movie on its own. And if you see it in the theater, as I understand, they're going to tack on the important stuff from the first 5 episodes. Whereas for us on Disney Plus, we just get to see the 6th one. Bailey, one more slide I want to talk about, and then we'll start wrapping this up. I know that the Jedi are they're your jam, and I can see why now. Ewan McGregor's performance has been 85% by himself on his face, and we're getting it. Are you feeling the same way, ma'am?
Oh yeah, this is definitely a man who is just so in a state of constant conflict of, oh gosh, like, and it's just like right when they think something's over, it's not, and then we don't know for sure if that's what he's sensing. He just knows something is off, but yeah, I think they did a really good job with this cliffhanger, and this definitely echoed Empire a little bit.
Yeah.
Luke and Vader kind of telepathically something's going on, so it just leaves me wanting more. So I thought they did a brilliant job here, and Ewan is just doing such a wonderful job conveying emotion on his face.
Agree. Christian, I think Ewan McGregor's just knocking it out of the park. Am I crazy? Do you agree with me, sir?
100%. I mean, his performance in this series has just been outstanding, in my opinion. We've something that we've seen in this series that I personally don't think has been touched on anywhere near as much in anything else Star Wars related is the internal trauma that he's going through. Every single episode, we have had some sort of a close-up shot of Ewan McGregor processing, not saying anything, just processing, and that's difficult for an actor because that's non-verbal, and I just think it's been amazing.
Absolutely. A couple of people are having to leave. Dino, thanks for stopping by. He gave it a 9. Peter, thank you for stopping by. I heard some of this might be molding you into Alec Guinness. Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of that and see that change for sure. But just, wow, what a great episode. We're already at almost 2 hours, you guys, and I think we could sit here and talk about this for another 2 hours because it feels like we just kind of skimmed right through, and that's the indication of an excellent episode. But let's get into some ratings, you guys, for this one and this one only. And if you've been in the chat with us the whole time, man, I've only been able to put up just a little bit of the conversation to help us out here. But if you'd like to, tell me and Bailey and Christian what you thought of this episode, 1 to 10, this episode only. And if it's really high, especially, or really low, maybe a sentence or two about why you gave it that rating, because, there does seem to be a little bit across the board here. So with that, Bailey, I'd like to start with you, ma'am. 1 to 10, this episode only, ma'am.
Sticking with the 10, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm enjoying it. You guys know my thoughts on this show. Anything is just nitpicky for me, so I'm enjoying it. I've got no complaints, and yeah, it's a 10.
I've said it before, but I am so happy that we got something fun to talk about this time, Bailey, so we didn't have to just slog it through. Yeah. Christian, what did you pick the right series to be a part of with us this time? What's your rating, my friend, 1 to 10 on this episode?
So far, I think I've been 9.5s consistently, and this episode I'm going for a 10, 100%. This was amazing. I'm concerned that the contented man is the whole of progression, but this was amazing. It had everything that I want in Star Wars. That, when you think back to what happened in this episode, it had everything.
Yes, I am like you, Christian. I enjoyed this so much that when the credits finally came up, I went, oh my God, this next one is just bound to disappoint me. But it's an hour and a half, and they kind of left it open with like, where is she going to do and what with this information? And then they show us Luke. So I'm going to hold out hope that this last one's going to be a 10, and we can go out on a high note with a great taste in our mouths, unlike Book of Boba Fett, right, Bailey?
Yeah.
That'd be she said, yeah, exactly. Let's head over to the chat and see where people are with some of their ratings. And it jumped 600. Look at that. Okay. Come on down. Okay. So Brian, 8.5. Okay. Not bad. Shanti, 9.5 out of 10 for sure. Yeah. Connor, 9 out of 10 also. I can totally agree with that. So Matt doesn't give anything 10s, but he's up to 9.7 for the series. So at least he's headed up. It's everything I want it to be. Good to hear. Blue X, by the way, it's good to see you. I hadn't had a chance to say hi earlier. 10 out of 10 with you, Bailey. What do you think? Exactly.
Amazing.
He's right.
I'm glad to see more 10s, because I swear some of y'all with these decimals are like, well, what is gonna knock it over to a 10 for you? Are you expecting a Mustafar duel in every episode? But yeah, it's nice to see some more 10s coming in.
Absolutely. Yeah, here you go. Evan, speaking of the devil, not a 10 because Reva should 100% be dead. He's stabbed her twice now. That's twice that Vader has stabbed her in the stomach. So I can see that, Evan. I agree.
Maybe she's got a third stomach.
Oh, my God. What race is she? She's clearly not human. That's for sure. Rick, 8.5 best yet. The final will be more epic. You know what? If it's more epic, I don't know how it could because I thought this was great, but I'm loving to see it. Still waiting for Ben to talk to Qui-Gon. Oh, we didn't even touch on that. Maybe that'll be there. Yeah, that would be awesome, Michael. 10 out of 10 for Unifam. Good flashbacks, right, Christian?
I don't care. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. And made me happy. I don't care.
Still there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I told you about the text message, didn't I, Christian?
He's just not publicly admitted it.
Yeah, he's just finally relented. Joe Blake, 10. I'm having an amazing time. Absolutely. With certain shows we've done before, because I always watch them twice, once to watch it and once to go back and get the screenshots. And before it was like, I don't want to go watch it again. Didn't have that problem this time. It was awesome. Sean, 9 out of 10. Season so far, 7.5. I'll take that. There have been, and we've admitted it, some areas where you had to just be like, I'm what did you say, Christian? Yeah, but okay. Yeah, but okay. Rick, hashtag revolution. Jonathan, 8 out of 10. Poor music choices and weak plot points and parts. Drop it down for me. And I can see that, and I think that's fair. And we welcome those types of opinions here as well. Not everybody has to love it, for sure. Everybody just has to be polite about it. So thank you. I appreciate you.
That's still a very high score.
Yeah, it's still an 8, though, forgot, right? Yeah. Yeah, Casey, I know. Keep rubbing it in. 9, only one demerit because of stuff I can't talk about. I know. Boy, I'm dragging you and Artisher on here, and you're going to spill the beans when you can. Hobbies Creations, 9 out of 10. I agree. JT, Bailey.
Thank you, JT.
I forgot to say hi when he came in earlier, but it's good to see you, JT. Let's see what Josh has. He still gave it an 8, even though he hated it. The badassery of Vader doesn't save the lazy writing and predictability for me, which I don't agree with you, those last two, Josh, but you're a good man. Yeah, there you go, Shanti. Be quiet, Josh. She just, wow, there's a lot of ratings in here. But an 11 because of stuff I can't. Oh, shut up, kids. Yeah, Josh. No. He's like, I can still taste Book of Boba Fett. No doubt.
You guys need to stop bringing that show up.
Oh, my God.
Discourse, and I'm too hungry for that. So.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Matt says, Paul, if you're going to keep trashing Book of Boba Fett, I'm going to be here to defend it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we just got to.
Here's the thing, though.
Bringing it up.
The three of us are on screen, and we can talk as much as we want. I can always do this with Josh or Matt's comments. Bye. Love you, Matt. Oh, yeah. Mark, Shabby Geek, 9 out of 10. Good. I'm glad because I think he was on USR. He was talking about how the last episode he wasn't really excited about, which I could see. A lot of people had problems with the snow speeders. Christian, you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I did mention the snow speeders being a bit hit and miss. But when I realized that they weren't the full-blown snow speeder, it sort of adjusted my thought process. And there was that shot that I commented on where you could see them in the foreground and it felt a little bit weird. But then obviously you explained to me that actually they're a lot smaller than the snow speeders and they could hover. But yeah, Shabby was talking in USR about it. The great thing about Shabby is he's keen to hear other people's opinions. So he's vocal about his opinion, but he's keen to hear what other people say. And if something goes over his head, much like me, he'll ask and people will fill him in. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's the environment I've been trying to build here. You can like it, you can hate it, you can be equivocal, but we all come together and talk about it and be honest with each other. And at the end of the day, go home friends. And that's what the most important part is. And Shabby, obviously, amongst everybody in the chat, embodies that. So Jonathan's got a question for you, Bailey. But what if the Vespa gang turn up to save Luke? What about that, Bailey?
Jonathan, they can't even save themselves. And I think it might take them like years to get to them. You know how slow they were. That ain't happening.
Exactly. Yeah, we got the Bill of Rights is written by Paul in here for sure, Josh. But yeah, if the speeder bike gang shows, yeah, except for football. That's football, right, Christian? Everton or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that is football.
Yeah. You guys all fight about football in your own time because even Christian didn't care too much about that. So yeah, he's got your back, Christian. So, well, good. Overall, I think the general consensus was even the people that didn't like it gave it an 8. So that's a good show. So I think we can't complain one bit. Show note. You guys have been watching episode 5 breakdown. I got Bailey, I got Josh on here, Christian. God, just shoot me, Christian. I'm so sorry. Got Christian, I got Bailey. I'm going to continue to call him Josh and be an idiot, and I'll apologize 100 times for that. But we've been talking about episode 5. We're doing something a little different for episode 6, just like we did at the end of Book of Boba Fett. We're going to each bring on some special guests, and we're going to talk about the episode and the series as a whole ourselves for about a half an hour. And then from then on, in 10 to 15 minute increments, just like we did last time, we'll have people that have been with us in the chat come on and talk about the show as well. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Bailey, are you looking forward to doing that again? Did it work out well last time?
Oh, it's a blast, guys. And I love having you guys on. It takes a lot of pressure off of us too. You know, we've been blabbing about this show, you know, for weeks now, and it's nice to just have other people. And some of y'all are just hilarious. So yeah, this is like my favorite part of doing these streams.
Oh, Christian, are you looking forward to that? And do you want to comment to Jonathan? I feel so bad, and I'm being legitimately serious about that.
Yeah, I mean, so long as when Josh is on next, you keep calling him Christian, I won't take offense.
Okay, I'll deliberately do that. I'm so sorry. Josh, speaking of which, I'm so sorry, Christian. I didn't realize Paul thinks about me as much as he does. I know, it's weird. I don't even like you that much, Josh. I don't know what's going on. So anyway, we'll be back next Thursday for the finale episode, 90 minutes of good Star Wars content with some special guests. If you've been with us in the chat the whole time, thank you so much. As Bailey just put it, man, it really takes some of the burden off of us and drives the conversation. We're 2 hours and 6 minutes into this, and it feels like we've been here 15 minutes. And if you're catching us on the replay, thank you so much. Make sure you drop some comments down below. These guys are reading them, and I respond to them. But with that, Christian, do you have any last words, anything else you'd like to say before I slide us open out of here, sir?
I'm all good. I'm excited and nervous.
Yeah, oh, please. One more episode. Go out with a good taste in my mouth. Bailey, anything else you needed to say or get out before we slide out of here, ma'am?
No, I'm good. And I don't have any worries with the finale because, again, I do believe this show was written to be 6 episodes. So I'm excited to see what they do. We have 90 minutes of fun. So
yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. I'm going in with eyes wide open, no expectations, just to have some fun. Let's go over to the chat and get the last little bit out here. Matt, I do too. I hope you have your internet set up in your new house. Congratulations on your new house, and I hope it goes as smoothly as possible. We'd love to have you next week. Unit fam, so have we. I've been having so much fun with this show. I'm like, Book of Boba Fett. Oh my God.
Guys, gotta be careful bringing the old stuff up.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The Book of Boba Fett about broke Bailey and I. We just about were done. Michael, it was good to see you as well. Thank you so much. Blue X, always good to see you. Thanks for the stream. I appreciate it. Jonathan, awesome stream as always. Paul, Bailey, and Christian. You know what, Jonathan? Thank you for coming in and offering a slightly different perspective. Evan, loved the breakdown. See you, Paul, Bailey, and Christian. Always good to have you too. Evan mentioned earlier that I pronounced his name correctly. I was very excited about that because I don't get much else right around here. Shabby, as you know, Shabber, thanks for stopping by, man. Shanti, it's always good to have you in your sass. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, he's eating it up, isn't he? I tell you what, literally. Wow, the chat is so far. Let me get on down here and I'll get us out of here in a minute. It's a great show. Yeah, there we are. I'm back where we were supposed to be. Can't wait for next week, no doubt. JT, there we go. Thank you guys. Great stream. Cheers, chat. Yeah, he is, Shanti. I'm not even putting that up anymore. Brian, thank you so much. And I think Unit Fam puts it best. Thanks for the stream. It was fun to watch it always. It was fun to have you guys. But with that, I'm going to get us on out of here. And as always, you guys know, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.